All right, here we go. Good morning, trade pros. Welcome to Morning Market Update for this beautiful Thursday, November the 7th, 2019. This is George Babsov, Trade Pro Academy. Yesterday, I wore the away jersey or the home jersey. Today, I get to wear the away jersey at Trade Pro Academy. Our hockey team I'm in talks with Gary Bettman to bring a new team to Toronto, the Trade Pros. We'll see what happens. Wish me luck. In today's Morning Market Update, we're going to talk about a few things. All right, U.S. and China agree to roll back tariffs on each other's goods in the different phases of this negotiation process, which is good. And really, it's fueling the upside because yesterday there was a squawk in the morning that really put a little bit of more pessimism into it. It didn't sound like a deal was going to get done. They said, hey, let's do it in December, which pushed the signing date forward for phase one, making it a little bit less likely, giving it more time for things to go wrong. Market didn't like it. It dumped. We got short in the room and did really well. Actually, it wasn't in the room. It was right after the room. You guys were doing the elite room, right, Vicky? Yeah, it was after 11 a.m. And so for an initial deal to happen, they're talking about as the phases are kind of coming in on this deal and getting signed consecutively, what they're going to do is remove tariffs on a proportional basis on both sides. That's the deal. That's what China wants. China wants tariffs removed. So what's going to end up happening here is Donald Trump will have to give China that ask that as they continue to do deals, the tariffs are removed. And, that's obvious because that's the whole point of the deal. Point of the deal is to get through and have an agreement on both sides. There are people who would prefer to have a deal and tariffs, but that's not going to work. It's not going to fly. It's a one-sided, lopsided deal. And so it's progressing forward. That's a positive news flow item, and everything is rallying this morning other than gold. Gold's getting hit hard. All right, in other news, Bank of England, actually S&P 500 is at an all-time high. Okay, hit 92.5. In other news, Bank of England kept rates at 7 or 0.75%, 0.75, and that was expected. All right, the vote was 9-0, so pretty unanimous. Bank of England's Governor Mark Carney says that the world risks slipping into low growth and low inflation. Recent Brexit deal creates possibility of pickup in UK growth. All right, that was what he said. And he also said that there's considerable policy flexibility and ammunition. So a very dovish statement right there, saying no matter what happens, we got a lot of tools at our disposal. Bring it on, markets. Let's go. All right, that was interesting. So dovish sentiment in the UK. All right, positive progress towards the trade war that's ongoing in China and the U.S. The markets are all-time highs. They're liking this news as they should be. The question is, where do we go from here? I'll answer that in a second. All right, a backlash against vaping is picking up. A week after banning online sales of e-cigarettes, China is outlining a plan to prohibit vaping in public places because there's an increase in activity among teenagers that they don't like. So they're going to ban it in public places, ban vaping as a whole. Little known fact here, vaping, before it came into the Western culture, was around for a very long time. Since I want to say the early 90s, even late 80s, vaping was the thing in Asian parts of the world, in the continent. In Japan, I know it was a big thing. It was a big thing there already. It just came over to the Western side of the world, and it blew up, all right, without any smoke, just vape. And so vaping is going to be banned. A lot of countries have already outright banned it. India, Brazil, Singapore, all right. And the largest tobacco manufacturer, China's e-cigarette market rose from 451 million in 2016 to 718 million people in 2018. Twice as many, more people vape than twice the entire United States population in China, right? Which is kind of surprising in two ways. You kind of remind yourself how many people there are. And number two, geez, that's a wide adoption, all right? So that's pretty cool. Baidu last night reported beat expectations on the earnings report, up 4.3%. Fitbit down 1 percentage point after price cuts. Qualcomm up 5% after jumping on earnings. What else on here? Roku down 15% despite a smaller than expected loss. So the reported loss still smaller. And Wynn Resorts up 1.6%. All right. So in today's market, Japan's up 0.1%. Hong Kong's up 0.6%. China's flat, and India's up 0.5%. So strong gains, not strong gains, flat to slightly green in Asia. In Europe, same deal. London's up 0.2%. Paris is up 0.2%. Frankfurt's up 0.7%. So gains, but modest in Europe. And in the United States, we have the best or the strongest gains. Futures in the U.S. the morning, Dow's up 0.6, S&P's up 0.5%, and Nasdaq's up 0.6 as well. So equities have rallied more significantly than Asian and European markets in the U.S. Crude oil's up 1.2%. All right, gold's down 0.6%, 1483, and I think it rebounded a little bit off its lows. Kind of. The low was 1482. Now we're trading 84. So we rebounded $2 off the low. Right, oil prices just broke their opening range high, but still below the previous day high. It put in a day session low yesterday of 56.11 after a big build in crude inventory, and we were on that report like white on rice. All right, Bitcoin's down almost 2%. Initial jobless claims this morning came in at 211,000 versus 215,000 expected. 4-week average of jobless claims right in line with expectations. So it's not really going to make too much of a impact on the market. All right. At 1 p.m., we get to see results of a 19 billion. Oh, I would love that. 19 billion 30-year note auction. 1:05 p.m. Fed's Kaplan speaks. 3 p.m. consumer credit. 4:30 money supply Fed balance sheet. 7:10 Fed's Kaplan's going to speak this evening, which is great. All right. So light economic calendar, but strong positive news flow overnight. Markets are at all-time highs. Despite them being at all-time highs, I think that the wishy-washiness of back and forth, even though it's like bad news yesterday, good news today, the fact that the sentiment's changing so rapidly in such a short span is really more indicative of, the fact that this thing is more malleable than we thought. It's not a done deal yet. And so despite the fact we're at all-time highs, I still would expect to see a little bit of selling this morning. All right, sell that early morning strength, and then we'll see what happens late morning around 10:30 a.m. for the mid-morning reversal, continuation to upside through the afternoon. All right, I started on the fade, and if the markets aren't weak at all, then I'm going to abandon that idea right quick and jump on the long. All right, send you guys love, joy, and happiness. See you tomorrow. Manager Risk Trade, TradePro. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Goodbye. All right, Trade Pros in the room. Oil markets are open. We'll let our oil desk rock. And I'm going to add Steven on here. And let's do this. YouTube, you have yourself a great day, and goodbye. Good. What about you, Boxy? How's the day so far?